Hello friends, my name is Richa and welcome to the another class with Unlock IELTS with Richa. And today in this session we'll see on how to approach or how to write an advantage disadvantage essay in your IELTS writing task 2. So let's begin. In this session we'll begin with the language on how you could identify that this is an advantage disadvantage essay. Then we'll have a look on the essay structure, which you need to keep in mind while writing an essay. And then we'll have a brief look on the assessment criteria, which you need to fulfill in order to get your desired band. And then we'll have a look on how you should plan or how you should always spare few minutes in planning an essay even before starting writing. Then we'll actually going to implement those steps of the planning while writing an essay of the advantage disadvantage type. And lastly, we'll see the common mistakes which you need to avoid if you want to score at least 7 band in your IELTS writing section. The first question is on how you should identify what are the criteria or how you can identify that this question is actually an advantage disadvantage essay. So as you can see on the screen, I have taken 3 broad examples. You can read it carefully, but I'm only going to highlight the words which will make a difference, or which will help you, or which will guide you, that you can figure it out that this is an advantage disadvantage essay. So as you can see in the first example, there's a language which is what are the advantages and disadvantages of such a solution. In the second example, the highlighted words are do the dangers or disadvantages outweigh the advantages. And in the third example, you can see the highlighted words along with me. Does working at home have more advantages or more disadvantages? As you can see, there is no trick in that. You'll easily figure it out through these words that you are actually that how you are supposed to present your essay in your IELTS writing section task 2. Now comes the marking criteria. Many candidates fail to assess that what they are actually required to write, what they are actually required to fulfill in order to get the high band score. And these 4 criteria are task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource or your vocabulary, and lastly is the grammatical range and accuracy. And each criteria has got equal weightage. So if you want to score really good band in your IELTS writing section, you need to understand each criteria and you need to fulfill each of them while performing in your IELTS exam. So I am just introducing the concept of the assessment criteria here. If you want to understand each criteria in detail, you can refer to my other videos on my YouTube channel or my Facebook page. Now, one of the most important aspect while writing an essay is the essay writing framework. This is the framework. This is a broad framework which you need to follow which you need to keep in mind before approaching an essay. Let's understand every bit of it. First of all, it's your introduction paragraph. You should paragraph with a background statement. Background statement is a general statement related to the statement or the topic given in the question, and which is broadly true and can't be contradicted. If you can think of such statement, then you're good to go. You can start your introduction paragraph with the same. Else, you can begin with the second sentence, which is the paraphrasing of the question. It means you're tweaking the language of the question in the different words but keeping the meaning intact. You need not to manipulate the meaning. The meaning should remain the same. And lastly is the thesis statement. In thesis statement, either you are guiding the examiner that what you are going to present in the following paragraphs, or you are stating your opinion. Now comes our body paragraphs. In the body paragraph 1, you're going to pick your first main or strongest topic sentence on which you are confident about it. You have got good vocabulary, you can write complex sentences, and further give an explanation with the example. Then, lastly, in the body paragraph one, you need to give the closing statement. Closing statement is basically a transitioning statement which gives a smooth transition between one body paragraph to the other, and it really keeps the flow of the structure logical and further guides the examiner. Then comes the body paragraph 2. Herein, you are going to pick your second strongest topic sentence or the main point, which you're again going to explain it with the further explanation using the linking words, supporting within an example, and giving a closing statement. Lastly comes our conclusion. You're going to begin it with the keywords like to conclude, to sum up, in conclusion, comma, followed by you are once again paraphrasing the question, which means you are highlighting whatever you discussed in the essay, and lastly, you are giving your opinion or you can further explain your opinion. Now, the most important point to take here is that this is a broad framework which you need to keep in mind while writing an essay. But in case of advantage disadvantage essay, as you already saw from the examples which we discussed, that the question doesn't ask you directly that you need to write your opinion. Then in that case, in the introduction, in the thesis statement, or in the third sentence, you only use the keywords like this essay discusses or this essay highlights. You are not at all required to write your opinion in the introduction, because you're going to lose your marks on that, because the question is not at all asking you to write an opinion directly. Whereas in case of the opinion essay, it asks you, like the question demands you to write your opinion. Then in that case, you can actually introduce your opinion in the introduction. So coming back to the advantage disadvantage essay, in case after having discussed your advantage disadvantage points in the body paragraphs, if you have anything to add up, then you should always include your opinion in the conclusion paragraph. So this is one of the most important thing which you need to take care in order to tackle the advantage disadvantage type in your IELTS writing task 2. Now comes the most important step, is the our three step planning of advantage disadvantage essay type, and it only involves three steps and your couple of minutes. Let's have a look. You should begin with analysis of the question. You should figure it out. You should identify what type of question is it. Then you need to highlight the keywords. And lastly, spend 1 or 2 minutes in brainstorming all your strong points, explanation, vocabulary, and examples. Now, let's understand this planning stage in detail by taking in an example. So I have taken an example. Machines are replacing humans in many industries. The language clearly states what are some advantages and disadvantages of this. So the first step is analysis of the question, and we have already discussed that the language itself will tell you what type of question it is, and we are done with our step one of our planning stage. Now comes, you should always highlight the keywords in the question. And in this question, I mean, the whole statement is important to keep in mind while writing an essay. So I have highlighted the keywords for you. And why this highlighting the keywords or the step 2 is important, because your task response criteria is actually based on this. If you miss out any single thing, and if you ignore to answer any single aspect given in the question which you're expected to do, then you are actually going to compromise with your score. So highlight the keywords and identify the question, and then your task achievement is fulfilled automatically. Now, the step 3, where we're going to brainstorm all the ideas, explanation, vocabulary, and examples. So, in the same example, let's begin with the introduction. So, as we could recall, the introduction always started with the background statement. It's an optional one. If you can think of something, then you should always write it. And if you are lacking the ideas, or You couldn't think of anything, then always start with the second statement, which is the rephrasing of the question in the different words, keeping the meaning intact. And lastly is your thesis statement. Now comes our body paragraphs. In the body para one, I am talking about the advantages. So let's brainstorm some of the idea. What do you think? Why machines are replacing the humans in many industries? Well, they are capable of completing the task in less time. They have the capability to improve the efficiency and productivity. They have uniformity, consistency, and accuracy. And then I could explain it with the example. Now comes the body paragraph two. What all ideas I can think of for the disadvantage? Well, the first is, if any machine malfunctions, then the production or the performance is going to hamper. There are loss of job opportunities for the humans. Will be dependent on the machines for every bit of work. And then further, I could include the example in that. And lastly comes the conclusion, wherein I am restating the main points which I discussed in the essay and the opinion here, if I have any. So, this is the sample essay which I brainstormed and which I wrote. Once again, now is the time that you should pause this video, as this video will be away after this class is done. This video will be available on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. What you need to do, you should go through this lesson again and again, pick any advantage disadvantage type question, follow all these steps which we did, and write an essay, give it to me. I'll look forward to give you the feedback. Keep in mind the structure, and you're good to go. Now comes the stage wherein you need to avoid these common mistakes in order to get your desired band, or the at least 7 band in your IELTS writing section task 2. First of all is that you're picking up the ideas, your strong points, and introducing in the first sentence of the body paragraphs, but not explaining it with the explanation and supporting it with the examples. This this thing is very important, because herein you're actually showing your capability that you can write complex sentences and further relate your topic ideas with the examples, be it the hypothetical or the real figure or facts. Then comes the repetition of words. As you have already noticed, that we are supposed to rephrase the question in the introduction or maybe in the conclusion as well. So here, in order to avoid the repetition of the same words, you should always equip yourself with the common vocabulary, so that you do not end up doing this mistake in your exam. Thirdly, exceeding the word limit. IELTS exam is not at all about the quantity. You can have your 9 band essay in just 250 words, but obviously you may tend to extend the word limit. So to be safer side, always stick between 260 to 280 words. This word limit is healthy enough. You can spare your 2 to 3 minutes for planning. Even you can write your high band score essay, and even you'll still have some minutes to further revise or proofread your essay. And lastly is the illogical structure. I always keep on highlighting or stressing on this fact, that why you should spare couple of minutes for planning, because in the absence of the planning, you'll always end up having an illogical structure. That means you'll go off topic, you'll have quantum of ideas which will lack with the explanation and the examples, and when you'll realize in your essay that you end up messing with your structure, it'll be too late. So don't risk your attempt, and always plan your structure. So here comes the end of the session. So if you want to stay updated on the latest IELTS content, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. You can reach me on fb.com/unlockielts with Richa. I look forward to see your advantage, disadvantage essays, and until then, all the best.